Dominic Mysterio, who had previously portrayed Rhea Ripley on television, was the one who betrayed her and was mentioned with Liv Morgan at WWE. Meanwhile, a wrestling veteran was there at SummerSlam. The reigning women's champion was recently proposed. In the event that the world champion tries to steal from Mommy the Miracle Kid, Damian Priest is the priest, is now a component of the Day of Judgment and the new girlfriend of Dominic that appears on screen, the Mysterio, as the latter was being activated. At SummerSlam, Ripley criticized his own judgment. Comrade in arms, Damian was deceived by Finn Balor. Priest, who was responsible for the Archer's notoriety, championship of the World Heavyweight Division against. There is a conflict between Gunther, the Terror Twins, due to the new Day of Judgment, which is on Monday. In a recent episode of the show, Night Raw spoke, the official podcast for wrestling. Keep in mind 100. Kanan, a seasoned member, discussed the prospects for It was the WCW legend who brought up the plot, that the angle can result in a completely different strategies. In the meanwhile, he proposed that Morgan may approach the priest and make an attempt to take him. Ripley, too, is now living and stating that the fact that she would consume whatever in spite of the fact that it is not Ripley's concern. Her boyfriend is really a buddy that she begins with. If you want to hit on the priest, you should realize that there are so many. It is possible to accomplish a lot of things with this, he remarked. The 27th column, 43-27 53-43, an analyst with WWE forecasts that the result of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest's investigation, competing against Liv Morgan and Amp to Dominic. Since the SummerSlam event, Mysterio, both Rhea Ripley, the Damon Priests have been making efforts to get and their vengeance on the day of the new judgment. The Horror Twins, on the other hand, were eliminated. This past Monday, the heel faction had the opportunity to Liv Morgan, and they will go head-to-head with the pair. In the context of a mixed tag team, Dominic Mysterio compete at the Bash and, as many people anticipate, Berlin those who eradicate the Punisher to emerge victorious in the bout. The WW, there is a prediction made by expert Sam Roberts that a loss is going to befall the pair if they would speak on the podcast of his Notum Wrestling Ring. The 40-year-old said that Morgan and Dom were unclean, would prevail as a result of their reliable companions. I get the impression that folks are getting into a rage. Whilst in Berlin, as if anticipating, Damian Allright, Priest and Rhea Ripley are certain to emerge victorious. Due to the fact that the Day of Judgment has arrived in the direction that Rhea and Damian are going to head. According to him, another defeat occurred when it was predicted by WWE presenter Matt Camp that Morgan would be pinned down during the party and Baron to create a global championship for women's athletics. A combination of the two individuals at Bad Blood. It will be fascinating to see how things turn out. Over the latter part of this month in Berlin, there was still a lot of confusion among WWE Universe. According to stunning speculations, Liv Morgan is one of the SmackDown's most prominent competitors. We're looking at the new conquest, which has the potential to exacerbate that. There is already a fierce competition between her, the Rhea Ripley. A short while ago, Liv was engaged to, as well as Rhea's paths intersected in the ring on occasion. A period of time that is more intense than the last. Inside their own communities, women, and 6 for supremacy, the respective. Nevertheless, this time it wasn't about the factions or demonstrating who was the champion of the championship. To a large extent, it was about something farther away. More rumors about the individual began to circulate after a recent WWE event in which Liv was present, observing the backstage area inside of what seemed to be a chat with a person that is less than public. Whispers among the well-known WWE veterans whispers. There was a suggestion in the locker room that Liv was making preparations to kidnap another lover from Rhea. According to Ripley, once she became involved with Dominic, Mysterio defiled Dom in his current state, notoriously well-known, had been at the helm of the ship, together with Rhea, members of the Judgment Day faction. In the role of his mother, Ripley is sitting by his side. Both on and off the stage, their bond was unmistakable. Scream by turning them off, making them among the most talked about couples. And on the other hand, WWE Liv Morgan, who had a history, it seemed that Dominic was not even close to an end. The mental games she plays when she is attempting to acquire inside Rhea's skin, Dominic has been faced with a fierce level of opposition. The thought that she was the source of the nightmare, she perhaps have her eyes set on another guy, near to Rio, was sufficient to bring the WWE to the ring. Universe into a frenzy, a veteran's perspective. It wasn't long before a WWE was given a warning. The veteran, who wanted to continue serving, someone who wanted to remain anonymous, commented on it. Over the course of an interview with a customer, a well-known podcast about wrestling on the veteran expressed worry on the path that Liv was going into. She has always been a little bit of a wild card. The veteran started speaking in a calm tone, in spite of the fact that it has a hint of caution. There's something about her that makes her so endearing. It is not just what attracts individuals, but it is also what causes her to be hazardous if she is really pursuing her. There is another person who is close to Rhea who might get the remarks of the veteran in a hurry. Resoundingly failed to be heard by the WWE. Almost immediately, speculations were made regarding who. It is possible that Liv may target some other. Think it was possible that she was aiming her sights for Rhea, one of her closest friends, Finn Balor. On the Day of Judgment, allies, while some people, I was curious about whether or not she would attempt to seduce me. It was Damian Priest who was the powerhouse of the. It had long been known that Liv Morgan was a faction. Given her erratic behavior, regardless of what was her opinion on her unique style, putting herself at danger or her capacity to play minds. With regard to games, she was a formidable opponent, with yet pursuing in the other direction, the Rhea Ripley, particularly in light of the turmoil that surrounded. Dominic gave off the impression of being a risky player. That is very possible to backfire. Next step for Liv, that which follows. Tension was high throughout the week on SmackDown. Perceptible, it was planned that Liv Morgan would contest, but everyone was more intrigued in what she may do outside of the arena. Backstage, she was spotted joking with other people. Both Finn Balor and the other person were sharing. The moment that was promptly recorded by the camera was cameras used by WWE. Indeed, it was the spark that which stoked the flames of suspicion to a frenzy. Spend your life to the fullest by pursuing Finn, the idea. This caused shockwaves to go throughout the WWE, the entire universe. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley was not present, one who is prone to expressing her feelings openly, but there was no denying the rage that she was experiencing. Around the time when the video was shown, her eyes, during her portion, she observed the screen. As she watched, her gel became more and more stringent. Fan whispering is seeing Liv leaning in close to her. The presence of anything in his ear caused him to smile. This was a strategic move on the part of Liv One, with the intention of provoking Rhea and shaking Rhea's foundation for the Day of Judgment. That swift was her response. She rushed out of the room to the ring, which was just about to disrupt Liv's match. A moment before it was set to begin, the audience spontaneously erupted as Rhea reached for a microphone. The sound of a voice carrying over the din like cutlery. The Liv, her eyes were fixed on her as she snarled, "A previous competitor, you have always been a nuisance. At this point, however, you are playing with fire. You believe you can cause trouble for my family. Evade punishment for it." Liv makes no desire to go back. Downward flashed her signature smile, as if she were. Rhea's claims were nothing more than empty threats. Words devoid of meaning. "Oh, Rhea," she purred, "just so you know. Me more than that. I'm not playing. I'm really playing. I'm just having a little bit of fun. And when Finn also wants to have some fun, and who am I to stop them? Just say no." Rio, on the other hand, was shocked by Liv's daring, was already taking the initiative forward her. Clearly, patience has reached its limit. It's not Finn. Interested in the games you provide, Liv, she did a snarl. If you continue to exert yourself, you will eventually find out how harmful I can be by reading this. Because of Liv's grin, her eyes enlarged and shone with